Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions. Pam Marino, thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. I really appreciate you being here. I know you're busy, and I appreciate you making the time to do this. It was great to meet you the other day at the referral group where I met you. And I'm super excited to hear about your life story. So like we talked about before we hit record, everyone has a story and our passion is to help them tell it. So with your permission, we're going to start with where you were born and go all the way up to today. And then we're going to talk about what you're doing to save people money on healthcare. Okay. Sound good?
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I'm glad we connected. We're kind of neighbors, so this is a good vibe, let's say.
Yeah,
so
exciting.
My name is Pam Marino. I am originally from Argentina. I was born and raised in Buenos Aires.
Okay.
And I came to the United States a little bit over 30 years ago. So I lived here more than I lived in my own country in Argentina, which used to be my own country. Now I'm a U.S. citizen. I thank God that I'm here.
Okay.
So I grew up with my mom and my dad, and I would say we're probably like middle class. I have one brother who's a little bit younger than me, but I look younger than him. No, I'm just kidding.
Just so we're clear.
Yeah, just to make that clear. So I grew up in Argentina. I'm a half Irish, half Spanish descendant. So I don't know why, but my dad's passion was to speak only English to me. And now I know why, because I needed that, right? So he spoke only English to me, and I went to a private school which was fully bilingual. So I studied everything in the morning in Spanish and the same subjects in the afternoon in English. Can you imagine? The time I went to school from 7:30 to 4:30 since kindergarten. Isn't that funny? So, and it was a very European education. So I studied a lot. I mean, the education is different, but I loved to study. Like I literally loved to study. I loved to read. My dad would come home. He would help me with my homework. So I don't know, just everything came on very easily for me. I always, I had a passion for studying. And people would go, why? And it gave me joy. And it's funny because one of my oldest daughters, she's now in medical school. Yesterday, she flew to Chicago, came back to take an exam she's in San Diego right now. And she says, Mom, I love to take exams. I love to study. Oh my God, that rings a bell. So I was very successful. During school, I was really, really good. A student, loved everything, spoke really naturally, the languages. I like to talk. That's not a problem for me. And then I was also a very good athlete. So in Argentina, even though the Argentinian soccer, for men is so popular, now the women's is a little bit more popular. But back then, no. I grew up playing field hockey. I was a star in field hockey. And we used to go to this club, which was a club called Hurling English, an Irish club. And then, yes, a lot of people used to drink a lot. I never developed that taste, thank God I don't drink. And then the guys would play rugby. So it was rugby and hockey. Argentina is very popular for the rugby team.
Yeah.
And I always, love, we would spend the whole weekend there and I don't know, like during the week, it was crazy. We used to travel about maybe 40 minutes. And we would practice like from 7 to 9 p.m. I would get home at 10 p.m. Then had to do my homework and get ready for school the next morning, all through high school. We had a lot of sports. The school that I went to was like a Cambridge-based school. So a lot of sports and athleticism, javelin, shot put, everything. I did it all. I had so much fun. I loved school and sports. Then I did make it to the national team and I played some field hockey. I was recruited. So that was also practicing. That was fun, traveled a lot. And then My parents, for some reason, happened, and they ended up splitting up. My dad died really, really young. I think he was maybe 52, and he died. He passed away unexpectedly. I think it was a heart attack.
Mm.
So I knew death early in life. I think I was maybe 18 or something like that, and that was really hard for me because I love my dad.
Yeah.
My dad was a tender, sweet bear, who would say, and then did nothing. He helped me with homework. He read to me. We just, I just loved it. I love the relationship with him. So, and then I'm just, moving through the history, right? Because
Yeah.
we're made of who we are and what brings us to today. And then my mom was a strict one. She was a strict, I love my mom, but I don't know. It was just uneasy because I think my dad was so nice that she really had to be the dominant factor.
Yeah.
Then, and then I was young, and I met the person that is now my ex-husband. But we talked about coming to the United States, and we're like, why not? Now
Yeah.
I'm scared that my kids are gonna go out of the state, right? But hey, yeah, let's go. Let's go to the United States, and we came. And it's interesting, like God really wanted me to stay. There were, like the day before we got married, I met this young girl, Lisa. And we were at a restaurant. This is, good to think how God comes into our lives and just makes waves.
Yeah.
So Lisa was at a restaurant in Argentina yelling at the waitress. And I'm thinking, don't yell because she doesn't speak your language. It's not going to do it. So I
Right.
went up to Lisa and I said, hey, let me help you. I translated here again, the gift of second language. And so this lady, Lisa, said, hey, oh my gosh, thank you for helping me. If you ever go to the United States, call my mom. She gave me a piece of paper. I don't know how you are, Mike, but I lose every piece of paper.
Yeah,
That
me
one
too.
I didn't lose. And I didn't have an iPhone then to say, hey, I'll put you on my phone. Let's take a picture together. So I saved the paper. So we got married, we came to the United States, and then we went to Van Nuys, and we were supposed to stay with a friend of mine. And she's like, Pam, I'm so sorry. I'm going through a divorce. This is not going to work out. I was like, okay, what do we do? So I pulled the paper. I still had it. And I called Lisa. Lisa says, oh my gosh, yeah, go see my mom, blah, 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 blah. So we went and we met Alice and her mom at an Amtrak station here in Oceanside.
Mhm.
And I wore this, she wore that. She took us into her home. We stayed with her for a long time. She gave us a car. Talk
Wow.
about God putting people in your life that will guide you. And
Yeah.
she used to live in Vista. Now she passed away. So we were able to start a life in the United States through her. She
Wow.
helped us with this, and we continued driving a long honeymoon. And today we live like 2 cities away from that where we were. And
Right.
I always remember Alice. She would be an amazing, and we stayed in touch with her, but then life happened. So, and then settled in, and then I worked. I'm a CPA as my background. I worked for a finance company for quite a while, and just God kept opening doors. And it was like, okay, there were moments of doubt, because being a pioneer, when you leave your whole life behind and said, okay, I'm settling here, it's scary. I
Yeah.
was the first one here, and it was scary. It's also because my ex used to already suffer from depression. So, but I remember, and this may sound silly, Mike, but this is so true. People are so friendly here. I know it's easy to think, oh, here in the United States, things are horrible because you haven't been abroad. This is a wonderful country. I remember going to the grocery store, and the ladies were so sweet to me, like talkative. I'm like, I love it here. I love it here. Like I told myself, this is where I'm going to stay. And we ended up staying, and it was amazing. Worked for a finance company for several years, many incredible people, moved up the ranks. I was in personal HR, just doing a lot of work. And then we decided that we wanted to have children. And first I said, hey, I just want to have 4 children. Okay, that was the plan. I don't know what happened. We ended up with 8, not 4. It doubled. So
Right.
I always wanted that yearning, to be to have a large family, because I didn't have it. I just had one brother, and
Right.
being here. So one of the things that helped me a lot as an immigrant is I went to the church, and then I met some really good people, and we got involved, and we started teaching. I'm like doing things, and then I had my first baby, and it was amazing. And then we did win a lottery, the lottery of the citizenship. So we got the lottery, we became citizens right away. That for me was like a dream come true. And then went on to have more children. So after my second one was born, I was like, okay, I don't want to go back to work. Like I literally was crying, thinking the thought of leaving her behind. And we made a I would say a decision, a leap of faith in God, and I stayed home.
Hmm.
And it was wonderful. I loved every minute of being with my children. And that started my journey because thank God my kids have been very, very smart. And when my youngest was 4, I started homeschooling. And I was like, wow, this is so much fun. I teach them how to read and just I don't know, God just put in my heart a yearning to really take it seriously. And I did homeschool 25 years, believe it or not. And I hear now I have a lot of good friends and moms who are younger and they're homeschooling the little ones. I'm like, wow, it was amazing. If I wish I could go back and do more, but if I don't know if you heard this song. I think it's I can't remember Beyonce. I think it's her. She has a song that's called "I Was There." It's almost like I want people to know that that's my mark. I always want to be remembered as a mother of 8. And the homeschooling, you can see it as something that is very difficult. I loved every minute of it. Yeah, some days were like, I have 4 boys and 4 girls. Days the boys drove me crazy. And before, it used to be a little stricter. Now I go a bit more relaxed, but the paperwork and everything. But what I remember, and obviously we would have to ask my children what their memories are, but what I remember, we would read every single day. And this is before social media and after social media, right? When my older kids never had a phone, we just read. It was like, stop reading, put the book away. We read a lot, we pray a lot, we did a lot of things together. I remember sitting in a circle and I would look at all the bare feet, and I'm gonna miss these toes one day because they grow up. And
they grow fast. They grow
too
so
fast. Too fast. Yeah, too fast. Like my youngest now is 15 and he's 6'2". So can you imagine? Yeah, I look at him like this and I'm 5'10". So but I think what I want to say from that is like I really enjoyed it. Yes, there were moments that you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But just teaching them the faith, teaching them about God. We all take pleasure when a little one starts walking. Imagine when they start reading. And I have to tell you, I love sports, always field hockey, running this. So I used to, you're going to giggle. I used to, in my garage, I had my treadmill, right? And around the treadmill, a whole bunch of little tykes tables. So the kids would sit, each had their own table. And I would say, you do this, you do this. And I would really every day walk on my treadmill at least 3 miles. And with my belly, sometimes, whatever. Sometimes it took me over an hour or 2, but I finished it. And then I would focus, especially with the little one. So the youngest who needed to read, I'd say, okay, now I'm going to go with whoever was in kindergarten. We're going to do the reading. And I want to say huge shout out to the book called Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons, because I would just sit down, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I would teach them how to read. That was the first goal, because once they read, they're independent. They can start doing their own homework. Yes. That was amazing, amazing. And I loved every minute of it. And then, fast forward, then in the midst of it, I don't know how or God presented this opportunity. I ended up partnering up and starting an international business in the health, wellness, and anti-aging. If I told you today, you're like, Mike, do this, I'll be like, I don't think, Mike, I can do this. However, just God gives us the graces as we go. And I'm so grateful that I did, because that provided me, as unfortunately I went through a divorce. I was like, okay, I need to create some kind of income. And my kids, adapted. It's like, I think with everything in life, I don't know if you see this, whatever is a priority, we give it time. I always say this story kind of funny, but I love my nails. I always like, the long, but if a nail breaks, the world stops. I'm going to go fix it. How important is that? Does that make sense? So for other people may say, well, I don't have time to exercise. It's just because it's not a priority, because if you make it, you'll make it happen, right? I don't know, maybe for a guy is washing your car. You're like, I don't have time for this, but if the car is dirty, I'll go wash it. So does that make sense where I'm going? So
yeah, what's important to you is what you prioritize, right?
Exactly.
I got to a point to where I didn't prioritize my health, and I ended up over 400 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
And I had a 50-inch waist, 50-inch waist. And I've lost 162 pounds, and I'm now at a 36-inch waist, right?
Wow.
And a big part of that is you have this sort of running dialogue you have every day where you make yourself a priority. You make your health a priority, right?
Absolutely.
They got in 2018, I spent 7 hours in the emergency room at Palomar Hospital, and they got in the middle of my world and said, look, if you don't make some massive changes right away, you're not going to be here.
Wow.
Be here for your children. My daughter was a senior in high school at the time. And, I made those changes, and they signed off and, said, look, you're in amazing condition. And, my numbers are the best they've been in 40 years.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's true that you will not do it if it's not important enough to you. And if your health is not important enough for you to be around for your family and your kids, and you know what I mean? It's absolutely true. This constant conversation we're having with ourselves of, I'm going to put everybody else before me, right, is a dead end conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can put everybody ahead of you. You can put everybody ahead of you. We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.